Hi there, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the next episode in my series called While I Was Out. I started this series when I was on maternity leave and I wanted to share with you guys some of the looks that I was doing but wasn't able to film. So I think this is the 6th episode in the series so far. The playlist is linked down below if you're curious, and today I have 8 looks to share with you, so let's get going. Before we get to the close-ups, I do want to share with you the look that I'm wearing today because sometimes people ask and I've put them at different points in the videos. But today I'm wearing my new palette from Sydney Grace. This is called On the Horizon. I got this secondhand, as I do for most of my purchases, honestly. And I started off with the shade over here, October Odyssey, and filled my crease. Then I deepened it a little bit with Midnight Courage over here. And then I laid down 2 shimmers. I used Lunar Illumination on most of my lid. That's the lovely pink shimmer that you see. And then to connect the shimmer to the matte over here, I used Flying High. And then on my lower lash line, I mirrored everything. I also remembered to use my palette pull-in today, which is my Tinkerbell Sprinkle a Little Magic. This was my shadow for today, and I thought, oh yeah, that can easily work with my look. All I did was put it on a really small blending brush, and I put it between the 2 shimmers on the bottom. So between the light pinky shimmer and the dark blue shimmer, I just put a little bit of it in there. I love this. This is absolutely beautiful. This is Sydney Grace formula that I adore, and I think this palette's, it's lovely, honestly. I do have one qualm because honestly, when I used these 2 together, I felt that the shimmer was a little bit darker than the outer matte, and I felt I had to just keep building up the dark blue in the outer corner to make it so the shimmer wasn't darker than the outer matte. So I wish that this, I wish that this shimmer were just a hair lighter, because I love the shimmer, and I think that this matte is really lovely. And this is a dark blue, which works on my skin tone. I have to be careful about the undertones of dark blues that I use because I have blue skin undertones, and they can make me look tired. I think that this one is a good color, so I wish the shimmer were just a hair lighter. But aside from that, it's lovely. And then really today's look was a very quick and easy look. The formula's amazing. It always performs so beautifully. And I think that it gives such a fine and well-refined look. It's so beautiful. I have noticed that my eyes are getting a little bit deeper set with age. My hood is also dropping down a smidge. So you might notice in some of my close-ups that the very outer crease area way over here is a little bit gappy sometimes, as far as sometimes there's just not enough shadow there. And that's a matter of my eyes sinking a bit further back into my head as I age, or however that works. But I sometimes miss that area. Even though I intentionally put shadow there, I'm not sure. I don't know if it wears away or if I'm not putting enough, or maybe I'm blending it too much and I need to just highly concentrate pigment right in that corner. I also make sure that I put extra primer there. I don't know. It's just a matter of working with my face as I get older. On my lips, I was in this video wearing this new NYX This Is Milky Gloss in the shade Mint Choco Chip Shake, but I did right now top it with the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Bit of Honey. So that's today's look. Now let's talk about the other ones. For look number 2, I used the Michaela Pot 2 palette, and I did remember here as well to use my palette pull-in shade, which is the ColourPop Sprinkle a Little Magic palette. I used the ColourPop Creme Gel Liner in the shade Fluffy in my waterline, which I forgot to say is also what I used today. And then on my lips, I'm wearing the lip oil from ColourPop in the shade Paper Pansy. I think that this look is really beautiful. It's funny because it's not what I originally intended to do. Originally, I wanted like a lavender blue, and it ended up being more green, especially in the mattes. When I added the shimmer, it did begin to feel a bit more purple, but my palette pull-in for this one was a teal shimmer, so that probably didn't really help my original lavender and blue goals. Overall, I think that this was a really pretty look. It's not as soft as I was wanting when I did the look, so I probably should have just picked a different palette because the Glamlite shimmers are very reflective. This is a little bit shinier than I wanted as far as that day, but the look itself is beautiful, and I love the lower lash line. I think it's very eye-catching and pretty. Speaking of more subdued looks, here is look number 3. For this one, I used the ABH Nouveau palette, and in my waterline, I used the ColourPop Creme Gel Liner in the color Champs, which is a deep purple, and I'm wearing their lip oil in the shade Paper Pansy again. This was a rush job. I only had a few minutes to get my eyeshadow done, and this was really very easy to work with. I really enjoy the Nouveau palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I think they've been kind of reinventing themselves. They had Nouveau, then they had Rose Metals and something else which didn't interest me, but now they've got the Cosmos, and then they have just launched that new one with the beautiful burgundy purple cover. I think they're trying to reinvent themselves, and I think Nouveau was where they started shifting that direction. Nouveau is a beautiful palette. Obviously, I had to clean up my mascara after I did this video, and I was like, oh, what do I see here? And I also changed my earrings because they didn't work with my final result. Once I got going with the look, I found that I really wanted to play with the purple matte. It's so pretty. I adore how that purple works with every other shade in the palette. it really does, it's a very versatile color, honestly. I know it has puzzled a lot of people, but I think it's genius. And once I finished this look and I saw how it ended up, I was like, okay, this is great, but I need to change my earrings. Okay, here's look number 4. For this look, I used the Flare palette from Ace Beauté, which is one of my favorite, like all-time favorite palettes in general. It's a great palette. I even bought it in the new formula because I loved it so much. In my waterline, I used white and also the orange from Udenzai, and on my lips, I'm wearing ColourPop lip oil in the shade Hot Spark, which is just a nice transparent orange color. I put this look on before we went to the zoo, and we spent 6 hours in the hot sun at the zoo, and the eyeshadow looked beautiful all day. Initially, I painted the blue shimmer on the inner half of the lid, but I didn't like how it was looking, so I took the biscotti shade and I overlaid it, which is how I got this unusual blue tinged champagne color, which doesn't actually exist in the palette. I thought that the blue was clashing with the other colors, and I was trying to be adventurous, and then it didn't work out for me. I do think that this look could have used some more blending, especially out here by the eyebrow. I think it's just a little bit too harsh. Those lines should have been softened more. But again, I mean, I knew I was going to be sweating all day long. I wasn't too invested in my eyeshadow look, but I think it was pretty nonetheless. Here's look number 5. I used the Muse palette from Cosmic Brushes for this look, and then I ended up bringing in the Paradise Islands palette from Nomad Cosmetics. In my waterline, I have ColourPop Creme Gel in the shade Big Splash, and I'm wearing a glowing lip called Candy Kisses. This look was pretty. I don't think it was my best. I was trying to match the color story and vibes of my shirt, but I couldn't get the sparkle that I wanted. What I really wanted was a very bright, sparkly, almost reflective peach shimmer. And I just couldn't find that in any of the palettes that I was working with. And I started with Muse, and then I pulled in Paradise Islands, and I wasn't getting the final result that I wanted. I also didn't have great lighting. The outer corners came out too far, and overall it wasn't very blended. So the look, I think it was pretty in concept, but as far as execution, not my best. Okay, here's look number 6. For this one, I used the Beauty Bay Earthy palette, the Big 42 pan palette. In my waterline, I used the ColourPop Creme Gel in the shade Canopy, which is a deep green. And then on my lips, I'm wearing their glowing lip in the color Mid-Century. So this was funny because I thought that I was going to go neutral. I was expecting and planning on doing like a nice brown crease and then a soft ivory colored shimmer. Of course, I ended up deepening it because this is me, and I can't seem to do a standard low-key neutral, even neutral eyeshadow look. I ended up deepening it. Then I added green, and then on my lower lash line, you can see I went all out with the vibrant bright green, especially in the first half of the lower lash line, which I loved. I love. Overall, this look, I do like it at the end of the day. It's just not what I was, again, initially planning on doing. I was thinking I'm just going to go neutral and downplayed today. Didn't work. For look number 7, I used the Blueberry Muffin palette from BH Cosmetics. This is a tried and true favorite. I love the color scheme of it. It's just cool blue, silver, a little bit of purpley neutrals in there. Very, very pretty. And the quality is amazing, of course. In my waterline, again, I used Fluffy from ColourPop, and I'm wearing the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Red Velvet on my lips. For this look, I was recreating what Angelica Nyqvist did when she tried out the new Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. I loved her look, and honestly, I saw her video. This is the case with most of Angie's videos. I saw her video and I thought, oh, that palette, I need the palette. No. I don't need the palette. What I need is the skill level to make anything work amazingly and beautifully, and that's what Angelica has. I'm getting there. You know, it just takes time and practice. So for this look, I was recreating one of her looks to scratch the itch and remind myself that I do not need an extraordinarily neutral, very unexciting, cool-toned palette, because I have basically those colors smattered around my collection, and I don't need to go spend $70. Of course I wouldn't. I would get it secondhand at some point, but even $30 to $40 for a palette, which realistically I'm not going to use. So I recreated it here. I think that this look was very soft and elegant. The cream shimmer in the middle brightened it up so beautifully, and I really enjoyed the purpley neutral tones in the inner and outer corners. And this definitely did scratch the itch. I know it's not quite like Angie's, but realistically, now I know that I don't need a nude. And finally, look number 8 for today's video is the Hella palette, also associated with Angelica Nyqvist, but this is her collaboration with Udenzai. I love Udenzai. Angie's my favorite. She's the most inspiring creator, and I think that her palette with Udenzai is just amazing. This look was nothing new for me. Honestly, I've done this color scheme so many different times. Of course, it's beautiful with the Udenzai formula and the Hella palette. The exciting part about this look was that Rebirth shade, which is the buttery yellow matte. It's all the way in the top corner of the palette, and it makes an amazing inner corner highlight. It's very, very bright. It's a super pigmented pastel yellow, and it works amazing as an inner corner highlight. You can see I used it quite prominently here in my inner corner. There you have it, guys. Those are the last 8 looks that I have done off camera. I hope you've enjoyed them. Remember to check below in the description box for my While I Was Out playlist and lots of other information. If you're curious about what I'm wearing, I will link everything else down below in the description box as well. And I'm going to close out this video. My little toddler's in here and she's playing with my things, which I need to put away. So thank you very much for being with me here today. I hope you have enjoyed the video. I hope you're enjoying my content. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more. I do upload several videos every week, and I will see you again in my next one. Bye!